Hey guys, super pumped that I can actually say that I read another ebook. This is an incredible moment. If you don't know why I'm so excited, then do go back and check out my Trapped in My e-reader TBR, which I'll link up above. This is some stuff, some old books from NetGalley, Edelweiss, books that I bought on my Kindle and totally forgot about. And you know, they've just been trapped in my e-reader, so I really wanted to challenge myself to actually get them done. And this really started when I realized that I even still had a book in there that was still an ARC. So maybe you also saw my ARC review of Soul Swift by Megan Bannon. Again, I will link that up above if you're all curious. But today we will be talking about a different ebook that has been trapped in my e-reader from some time, and that is The Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen. I think when I made my TBR, I said something about this book being about another female assassin. That was not true. I don't know. It does have to do with like a girl and death and kingdom at war, but she's not actually an assassin, so whoops-a-doodle. I mucked up. Here's what this book is actually about. The main character is a girl named, I believe it's actually pronounced Fi, but the entire book I was pronouncing it Fee, as in like Fiona, which is not her name, it's F-I-E. So you might have read it and you're like, Gretchen, it's pronounced Fi, but please don't ask my brain why it did that thing. I pronounced it Fee. So if I go through this and you're like, that's wrong, I have no explanation, it's just me. So Fi, or Fee, is a crow. This is the lowest caste in a kingdom that is separated out by castes named after birds. So at the top you have the phoenixes, the swans, and then all the way down at the bottom you have the crows. And each of these castes has a magical ability. So for instance, the phoenix are not bothered by flames, and hawks can heal themselves. There are other things too, but the thing about the crows, one of the things that makes them the lowest caste is that they have no what is called birthright of their own. Instead, if they get the teeth of any of the people from these other castes, they can harness the birthright of that caste for a little while, also accessing some of the memories or the life force of the person whose teeth they used to be. They're also the only caste in this kingdom not bothered by the plague that is currently sweeping the nation. So essentially they are like, you know, those Black Death masks that we saw during the Black Plague? That's these guys. They are summoned by plague beacons to take care of dead or dying bodies. And that's the idea behind the Merciful Crow on a surface level. They often have to give the mercy blow to some of these people who are suffering from this plague for which there is no cure. So never mind. Sophie is a chief in training. Someday she will lead her own band of crows, but for the moment her pa is the leader of the troop that she's currently in. However, he's not her actual father. He's just one of the men who raised her. And in the beginning of the book, her father, Chief, decides to help two noble dudes escape a attempted assassination attempt when they fake their death by pretend plague. Come to find out, these two dudes are one, Jasamir, the crown prince of the realm, so a phoenix, and the other is Tavin, his bodyguard, body double, best friend, who is a hawk. And they ask for help getting to Jasamir's extended family, as his stepmother is planning to murder Jasamir's father and take over the kingdom. And Fee is like, no, this is a terrible idea. But of course, she then decides to try to make it completely worth her while, gets herself into a blood oath with these guys, and at that point, things start to hit the fan. One of the most amazing parts about this book is the world, and I'm doing such a poor job explaining how amazing this world is, how detailed it is, the cast, the birthrights, the powers, everything in this book is just so amazing, and it's so unique. And from the beginning, I was just sold. I was like, I want to know what happens in this book, what happens in this world, how this world got to be this way. Just give me all of it. The problem is that the book then said, okay, here is everything, and just kind of dumped it. The entire beginning was just dump, 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 dump. There's a lot to explain. I understand this, but let me breathe. Let me get settled in the characters. I felt like I never really got a connection to many of the characters in the beginning, except for Fee, our main character, because there was just so much info dumping happening around it, which was really frustrating. I think at the end of the day, the problem is that the characters in this novel are what let it down. I ended up rating it 3 stars on Goodreads, and it's the characters. It really is. There is not a love triangle in this book. Jasamir is into dudes, so he's not into Fee, but Tavin does not have that problem. And this is not really a spoiler because they're alluding to it basically from the beginning. Everybody's like, Fi, you're falling in love with that pretty hawk boy. And other than the fact that Tavin clearly thinks that Fi has a smart mouth and she thinks he's pretty, I genuinely did not see a relationship developing between the two of them. And then it was there. And then it was supposed to be, again, that kind of love that shows up in YA novels where this is the end all be all and I'll change my life for you, blah. Which did bring about something very interesting towards the end that I'm not going to spoil for you. But I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the relationship. And also because I didn't get grounded in many of these characters in the beginning, when things start to hit the fan and things start to happen, it's hard to then also feel tension because you're like, if this person jumps off a bridge, do I care? Which is not anything that happens in the novel, but it's not a feeling that you want to go through this kind of book with, because you need to feel emotionally attached to these characters to care what happens to them. Once I hit about 60% of the way into this book, it hit a flow and I kept reading, but the previous 60% of it was just like a fight. I didn't want to read it. And I've talked about this previously where I have been having problems with fantasy lately. It's just in general something my brain wants something very easy, which is why I've been reading a lot of romance. But I felt like this was an extra fight, but I kept going because I thought maybe this is a me problem. This book is unique enough, interesting enough, I don't want to give up on it. But the pacing of that first 60% just felt like I was just slogging up a hill. And then, it cuts the extraneous weight, things start to happen more quickly, it gets more interesting. But I shouldn't have had to wait 60% for that. And again, take this with a grain of salt because this might have been a me thing. I don't know. So in summary for this book, the world building in the sense of the idea of the world, 5 stars, amazing. Check it out. It's incredible. And I would be so interested to read other things that come out of Margaret Owen's head. However, world building plus pacing is where things start to fall down because it just shouldn't have been that much of a slog in the beginning. And then the characters just, I don't know if I felt it. I certainly, except for 1 or 2, was not really feeling the connection and feeling like they were particularly unique or nuanced. They were all pretty much YA characters that, you kind of expect. So with that said, this is the first book in a duology. The Faithless Hawk is the second and final book, which is out as far as I understand. And I potentially would be interested in reading this book. I find that pacing in most duologies is very, very complicated, and I'm not sure that I've really seen a duology do it well, to be honest. And there are quite a few that I like. So maybe if I have nothing else to read, I'll go on and finish it, but I'm not burning down the store to do so. So do with that what you will. I'm just super pumped that I ticked another ebook off that list. So if you want to go back to that video and recommend another one for me to read next, I would super love that. If you have read The Merciful Crow and have thoughts or feelings, again, do warn people if you're giving spoilers. Try not to do that too much. Hit the enter button a bunch of times to hide it. But I would love to discuss with you. I know this one's been out for a bit now. So leave anything at all down in the comments, and I'll see you guys soon.